Welcome back, baseball fans, for our second episode of our new format for our podcast. Really excited to talk some more baseball this week. Last week was sort of a test run for us that we thought went very well. We appreciate the audience we had last week, and expecting even a bigger audience this week as we bring in 5 high school head coaches from across the state. We're looking forward to having all those guys, and really appreciate all of you jumping on, taking some time to listen about things across the state for prep baseball in Alabama. And some of you are coming on to hear your specific high school head coach, and we're going to get to those guys here pretty soon. Austin, what's going on in your world, man?
We got some big names tonight.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. Yeah, we're obviously on YouTube, and I think on Twitter we just went live, so people be able to view it both, whether they're scrolling on Twitter or just like we did last week on YouTube. I think we had over 600 viewers last week on our YouTube, which was a good start, and just continuing to get ready for the spring season. I know you'll talk a little bit more about what we've got coming up here as we get closer to first pitch, but yeah, ready to, we've got some big names tonight. You'll talk a little bit more about them here in just a minute, but excited to get them on and learn more about their team.
Absolutely. Our first guest is coming on at 7:40. That's about 8 minutes. Just going to take care of a couple housekeeping things before we get to the main menu for this week's show. We want to hear from those coaches. We don't want it to be us doing all the talking. We want to hear from them. Just a friendly reminder to all of you, we do have that comment bar there, that comment. You can ask questions to the specific coaches, and anything else that you may want to hear. Any questions that you have, ideas for shows in the future, man. We are going to bring on some more coaches as we move closer to the high school season. We enjoy this just like you do. We're as we've already mentioned, we're looking forward to having these coaches on tonight and talk about their programs. If you don't know, tonight we do have those 5 coaches that we just talked about. As I've already mentioned, at 7:40, we're going to hear from Blake Bone, the head coach at Etowah High School, defending 4A state champs. And I'm sure they're going to be right in the thick of things back in 4A again this year. At 7:55, we'll hear from Chris Jacks of the Gulf Shores Dolphins. Historically strong program down in South Alabama in 5A. I know last year they got beat in the first round in one of the premier matchups that we talked about when they faced Shelby County. That was 2 big dogs going at it early. So we'll hear from him at 7:55. And then at 8:05, Thompson High School, Coach Frankie Perez, 7A there, Thompson High School. They've got a lot coming back from a very successful season last year, just missing, got beat in the Final Four in an epic series. I know their Elite 8 series with Bob Jones was big time as well. Their 4A or their Final Four series with Vestavia, who obviously Vestavia went on to win the state championship, was a big-time series as well. So look forward to hearing Coach Perez. At 8:25 from the Gardendale Rockets, we'll hear from Coach Ryan Keaty. They're in 6A. They made it to the Elite 8 last year. They do return a lot of pieces, and, man, that team should be able to bump the ball around the yard a good bit. They've got some big boppers in the lineup. So look forward to hearing from him and his new park there that he's got there at Gardendale High School, which we'll see that the first weekend of the series. We're looking of the season. We're looking forward to that. And then to wrap us up, coming on at 8:40 will be the head coach of the Alexandria Valley Cubs, Coach Zack Welch. They're going to be primed for a good run in 5A as well. Those 2 frontline arms they've got coming back are going to give them a shot in any series that they play. So that's what we've got coming up. Before we turn it over and talk to Coach Blake Bone from Etowah High School, just a couple things that we want to talk to you about before we get started with them. Just some updates. Next week, we will be releasing our updated player rankings for the 24, 25, 26, and 27 class. There will not be a ton of movement, but there will be some small changes, specifically some guys that we saw that really jumped up at us at our January events. Just so you know, we've already started working on this on Monday, February the 12th. That's the Monday that the season begins. Later that week, we will be releasing our top 10 in each classification. That's on Monday, February the 12th. As you know, our team previews are rolling out about 2 a day. We'll continue to release those previews through February the 15th, right up until the season begins. I think we've got like 73 previews that we're doing now. So any coaches that want to get their teams in, get a preview on them, it's not too late to get that questionnaire in. We are already working on our summer schedule. That seems crazy. And
big news coming.
You're right. We're gonna change some things up this summer, and we are really looking forward to what we're going to do this summer, having a huge marquee event this summer in the state of Alabama. And there may be a little change in how the future games take place over at Lake Point. So we're looking forward to that. That's after the high school season. So, but we're already working on our summer schedule, and we're preparing for those 3 high school events that we've been talking about, which kicks off February the 16th and 17th with the the PBR Alabama Kickoff Classic in the Birmingham metro area, with just some elite level teams coming in.
2 of those coaches will be playing in tonight.
That's right. Some of the coaches we talked to tonight will be playing in that, including our first guest here in just a second. And then the next weekend, we'll go down south, the South Alabama Showdown. Coach Chris Jacks, the Gulf Shores Dolphins, they'll be part of that, February 22nd to the 24th. And then we'll have the North Alabama Showdown, March 14th through 16th. So we are getting ready for the high school seasons. Obviously, a lot different than what the coaches and players are getting prepared for, but we are trying to get our schedules nailed down. We're trying to get everything rolling, and we're ready for it to begin as well. So, that's about all I've got. Austin, if you've got anything, if not, I see Coach Bone I should have known Coach Bone would be early. So that's good.
Right.
Good thing, Coach. So without talking any further, we'll welcome Coach Bone in. How are you, Coach?
What's up, Coach?
Hey, how you guys doing, man? I'm doing great. Just been watching a little football this afternoon.
I hear you.
Okay? I like that lid.
I appreciate it.
Good looking hat.
Appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, man, we're glad to have you on. And, we just talked about some of the things we're doing. Your team will be in that opening weekend kickoff classic. That's a big time event. I know you played, in the North Alabama Showdown with us previously, but we're looking forward to having your team. Just a quick synopsis from Etowah from the past couple seasons. They are in 4A. They're going to be competing in Area 14 with DAR, Cherokee County, and North Jackson. As we've already mentioned, they were the 4A state champions last year. I believe they finished up 30-11. It was somewhere around there, Coach. You can correct me if I'm wrong.
You're right.
And then in 2022, you were 4A runners up to a loaded Mobile Christian team. You've obviously, coached against you years ago. You're notorious for having successful high school programs, and that just keeps on rolling in Etowah. And we appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm excited to be here and look forward to talking to you guys.
And might I add, he could be the best BP thrower in the world, man.
Absolutely.
Stephen Bird probably argue that, and I'll probably let him have that title.
Yeah.
But I enjoy doing it. I love
it's hot summer days at Chocolaco.
It's a good way to lose a little weight, too.
That's right.
I hear you on BP. So,
Coach, we can go ahead and get into our first question. We've got just a basic pool of questions, taking it. Each coach probably have 15 minutes to talk about their team. But we want you to do a little bit of the talking here. This is how we'll start off each coach. First question, what's sort of obviously coming off a state championship last year and finishing as a runner-up the year before, what's sort of your expectation going into this season? I think we had some tough guys to replace coming into this year as far as leadership and I think our toughness was our biggest thing. We had some seniors last year that just, even through adversity, were able to keep us moving forward. I mean, we at one point in the season last year, I think, we were way below 500, but those guys continue to practice hard, continue to do the things it takes to be successful. And, I think that's one thing this year we're looking for. We're looking for those leaders to step up and take those responsibilities on. I think we have the talent to hopefully get back to where we want to go.
But I think our biggest thing right now is finding those guys that are going to step up and replace the Caleb Freemans, the Hunter Humphreys, the Briggs Freemans, just Andrew Pierces and this tough dudes who just refuse to lose. So I feel like kind of that's where we are right now. We're just looking for those guys and trying to figure that out.
Well, if I know you right, I don't think toughness will be an issue with your team. I expect they'll get after your tail every single day. So
I hope so. We're still trying to figure that out right now.
And just like I know, you mentioned, last year, your record at one point, you just said it was not real good, but you're not scheduling teams to be 32-3. That's not what you're trying to do, or be 35-0. You want your teams you want to schedule so that when you get in the playoffs, there's nothing your kids see that they haven't already seen in the season. And, and I hope that first weekend of the season is probably going to be a good barometer for you.
Oh, absolutely. We're excited about getting to see Bob Jones and all those guys. We know those are super talented teams. And I think you're right. I think just the speed of the game, playing the schedule we play early on really helps us in the playoffs. And, that's kind of why we do that. Sometimes if you try to get all the wins and all those things, I don't think you're prepared when it comes to May to have the game speeds up a little bit. And I feel like our guys were prepared for that last couple of years. So, yeah, we're probably going to take some lumps early on, but hopefully we're able to be tough enough again to be able to overcome that. And
I'm sorry, Coach. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you're good. Go ahead.
You mentioned you lost some players. The cupboard's not bare there. I mean, you've got some good players returning, and we know several of your players, specifically some of your frontline guys. Tell us some guys that you're going to be counting on there. Every day in, day out. Playing, and then some of your top arms. Obviously, you've got a big one, a big dog there at the top of your rotation. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, we're excited. Jameson system. He's been at the top of the rotation for the last 2 years as a 9th grader, 10th grader, and I think he's 9-1 in the playoffs in the last 2 years, something like that. So, I guess you guys, I know, he committed to Mississippi State, so we're excited for him to be able to get that out of the way so he can just continue to work, get better, and get started in the high school season. But no, along with Jameson on the mound, actually the stepbrother, Damon Devine, has made huge strides. Damon closed for us last year, and he's just a little guy, man. Like, he's 5'6", maybe 150 pounds, but he's going to be a mid-upper 80s guy with a really hard breaking ball. So we don't know what his role is going to be. If he's going to be able to stay in the bullpen or maybe have to start for us, but we look forward to seeing what he's going to do this year. He's that guy everybody looks at when he comes in, like, okay, he followed Jameson last year in the finals, and I feel like when he came in, guys were like, all right, we got to the next guy. But he's pretty good, and we're excited for his improvements over the fall and early spring. So, but we also got a kid in, left-hander, Trey Gaddis, who came to us back during the fall.
Was that an event? It came to one of our events in January.
And I think Trey's going to be a huge part of our rotation. He's been really good in our scrimmages early on. I think he was 83, 85 the other day with a good breaking ball. And, we lost Caleb last year with a good lefty. So I love having that lefty in the top end of our rotation.
It's pretty clean too, man. I mean, arm pass pretty clean. I mean, he was pretty dialed in the night we saw him. So
good. Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing what he can do. Bennett Reeves too, another guy on the mound. 6'2" guy. He's worked really hard on the offseason on his body and gotten a lot better shape. And he's thrown well too this offseason or early in our scrimmages. So we're still looking for some depth on the mound, but I like what our guys are doing. They're working really hard. Coach Clayton does a really good job getting those guys ready, getting them prepared, and ready for the season, healthy and ready to go. So from a pitching standpoint, I like where we are, and I think we got some young guys too that have an opportunity to probably help us out at some point during the season. So, from that standpoint, obviously health is a big issue. So we just hope everybody stays healthy and our staff can do the things we hope they can do.
Yeah. Well, we talk a little bit about the returners, staying on talking about, the guys you got back this year. looking at your team, who do you think are some of the X factors, sort of outside of the Jameson systems and those other guys that you talked about? Who are some of those guys that you expect to possibly replace? You know, and they're not going to come in and give the same production as a Caleb Freeman. But who are some of those guys who you're expecting to kind of take on bigger roles this year in order for you guys to achieve the type of success you guys want to have?
Well, I think it's got to come from upperclassmen first and foremost. Guys like Slade St. Clair, who he played every day for us last year, but he didn't have to be the guy. Sometimes when you have to be the guy, it's a little different. But that's what we're looking for Slade to be. Slade played second for us last year. I think he only made 4 errors all season. Hit the middle of the order, led us in RBIs. But obviously we need him to do bigger things this year, and I think he's up for the challenge, and we're excited to see what Slade does in the senior season. Bodie Bennett, another senior that was a role player for us last year in the outfield, played center field in the state championship game. And, Bodie's really worked on his offense side of his game. And I think he's going to be a big help to us as well. And then obviously our young guy, you guys know Baylor Morrison. Baylor's going to probably make that transition over to shortstop from third, replacing Hunter from last year. And, as far as defense and talent goes, there's not many better in his age group or really anywhere. So we're excited for Baylor to see his transition into the shortstop and take on that responsibility. It's big for a 9th grader, but he plays a little. He's not a 9th grader anymore.
Plays with an edge a little bit. It seems.
Yeah. So
we saw him at the Junior Future Games this summer, and just the way he carries himself, and he's just the game doesn't speed up on him. It seems like it's just. I don't want to say it comes easy, but he just handles his business. It goes about his business, and he's just a good baseball player, is no doubt. He fits in that mold of what you want on the field for Etowah. I can assure you that.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. He's a hard worker, man. He's a grinder. He's the kind of guys coaches love. He's staying after. He's getting there early. He's always trying to get better. And you love to see that from a guy who's talented, and not only talented but works at it. And, his goals are bigger than Etowah High School, and we're excited to see where Baylor ends up.
Question for you, and I know this doesn't leak into your mind, but you've had some. I mean, the last 2 years you've been really successful, and there's no doubt about it that going into this season you're going to be one of a few teams this year that's going to be in everybody's mind of that can win it all again in 4A. Have your kids, do they respond well to that, or do you have to stay on them about, last year's done and, we haven't won a game this year. We haven't done anything. And, how have your kids responded to I don't want to say pressure, but guess what? You've got a bullseye on your back. You know that people want to beat Etowah.
Oh, absolutely. I think we've handled it okay. I think we got to do a better job of that, understanding that last year was last year. We talk about it. I think you have to talk about it. These are, even though we have a lot of returners, we have 5. We had 5 seniors that played and 5 underclassmen that played last year. So, but like you said, these guys haven't done anything yet, and that's kind of what we want them to understand, and we want them to be able to, carry on the standard that these other guys have set in front of them. And I think they will. I feel like we're coming around. It's just we do have to continue to make strides in that area. Just understanding, there's that's done and over, and we got to move forward and get to who's here now.
Right.
Gotcha. Well, Coach, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you're good. Go ahead,
Coach. We appreciate you coming on. Obviously we talked about our team previews in the intro. You guys have submitted one, and that's coming out here shortly. So, appreciate you coming on, and can't wait to see you guys here in a couple weeks at the Prep Baseball Alabama Kickoff Classic in Birmingham, and wish you guys nothing but success moving into the spring. So, thanks for coming on.
All right, guys. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate what you do for Alabama baseball too, man. It's
Thank you.
You do a lot, man, and it's we're grateful for what you guys do, and probably goes underappreciated, but we do appreciate you as high school coaches getting these players out there and giving them opportunity to succeed and move on and do what they want to do. So thank you.
Well,
Appreciate it.
Appreciate your support, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks, man. I think you are at
Yes, sir.
Gardendale on that Friday, aren't you?
I think we have Bob Jones first at Gardendale. Yep.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
Gardendale and
That's Friday
Chelsea
night.
that
Yep.
Saturday.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Looking
So
forward to
hopefully get
seeing
some
you,
good
man.
weather.
Good luck,
Ready
and
to
hope
go.
everything goes well next couple of weeks, Coach.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Thank
Be good,
you.
brother. Mhm. Appreciate, man, Coach Bone coming on. You know that they're going to be, they're going to be good again this year. I mean,
They're gonna have the target on their back this year again.
that's right.
Like
You're right, and you know what? That comes with success, and that's why it's so hard to stay at the top.
yeah.
I was not joking when I said that to Coach Bone about there's no question that his team's going to be tough. I mean,
Yeah.
you know what you're going to get when Etowah shows up. They're going to be hardcore. They're going to be blue collar. They're going to get after you. So
They may not be the most talented team playing in our kickoff classic, but I would hate to see I'd hate to see I got to draw and I have to play Etowah in my first couple of games.
Well, I'll tell you this. I think they're the only 4 or 5A school, I believe, in our kickoff classic. Yes. And just a funny story. Last year at the Future Games, Jamison Sissom he said, man, will you please match us up with Oxford? Because they're right there close to each other, and Hudson Gilman and those guys were there, and that was pretty fun. But I don't think they're playing this year. I may be wrong. I don't think they are. But again, they'll be good again. And speaking of being good, the Gulf Shores Dolphins have obviously rolled along with successful season after successful season. And they're looking to have a successful season again this year. We're joined by their head coach, Coach Chris Jacks. What's up, Coach? How are you?
What's up, guys? How y'all doing?
Doing good.
Man, we're good. Trying to get watching a little football in between. It's 24-17 now, so it's getting a little closer. But I know you're geared up for baseball season, and I know you're busy. We appreciate you taking the time to come on. I don't. We're not going to give you all bad news, but we were just talking when we came on tonight about your first round matchup last year with Shelby County. They eliminated you in that first round, but that was a playoff series that we highlighted out of the get-go. That was a big time, that was a big time first round matchup. That could easily be an Elite Eight, Final Four type matchup. But I know your guys are ready to get going again. Just a quick little synopsis. Gulf Shores, as I mentioned last year, they did qualify. They won their area and hosted Shelby County in the first round last year. I believe, Coach, you finished 21-13. I believe, if I may be wrong.
Oh yeah, 23-13 was our final, and talking about Shelby County, man, those guys were tough.
Mm-hmm.
Hard-nosed kids right there. It was a fun series, and we were playing well and straight going into that week, and we lost Monday night to a good tough Alberta team, and then Friday night Shelby County came down and man, they were tough, man. To end the game, the shortstop takes one off the nose and throws our guy out at first. Mm-hmm. I mean, there was tough nosed, gritty bunch of kids. Coach always does a great job with them, and we've been in 6A the last previous years and had tough first round matchups, go down to 5A, and I think Shelby County was as tough as, if not tougher than any of our previous 2 in 6A. So it just shows you the depth of our state.
No doubt, no doubt. And, you had it's just, it's just the way it is. I mean, with the way you're matched up with different areas, I mean, you could be fortunate enough to, 2 years ago when Hartselle won it all in 6A, and deservedly and rightfully so, they won the whole thing because they were really, really talented and they were the odds-on favorite to win it all year. But like their first 2 matchups, I mean, they
weren't really challenged out of the gate.
Yeah, they weren't challenged. But then you look at somebody else like you last year, you're drawing a Shelby County after winning your area in round 1, and there's just there's really nothing that can be done. It's just a lot of luck of who you're matched up with from an area standpoint. But that's over. We didn't mean to bring that up to you. But so we'll
welcome to the podcast.
We'll move towards 2024 because I know you're excited to get going. I know you return a lot, and you've got some veterans both on the mound, and you've got some veterans in the field as well. and we've already talked about it. We look forward to seeing y'all the second weekend down there. Got that big Friday night 7:00 matchup with Orange Beach. That's always a lot of fun. This year it will be at their new turf field. Last year it was at your place. But it's going to be we're looking forward to getting down there. But I will get started real quick. Sort of a broad, sort of a general question here, but what are your expectations as y'all get ready a couple weeks to get cranked up with your season? What are you looking for? What are your expectations this year from your team?
Our expectation is every year, is to compete for it. That's what we talk about day in, day out is we want to make a run at this thing. We've had a lot of success in the regular season the last few years. It just hasn't parlayed yet into the playoffs. We've been in the second round twice in 6A last year, got bounced in the first. We expect to be highly competitive. We really do. We put together what we feel is about as tough as a schedule as we could do. And we want to play the best teams to get us ready for the playoffs. We want to see what we feel we'll see in the playoffs. We think we'll see night in and night out most nights with our schedule. But we like what we got. We got some leaders coming back. We got 6 seniors. It's not a huge class, but there's a lot of quality in that class. A lot of really good kids, really good players. We've got some arms this year, and when they're in the zone, they're tough. They really are. Hitting's always been probably our weakest link here at Gulf Shores, but we've always pitched and played pretty good defense, and we're going to hang our hat on that at the end of the day, but we still got to get those timely 2-out hits. And but our expectations are, we think we're a quality ball club, and we expect to win every game that we play.
Yeah. We talked, going back to your point, we talked to Coach Bone about it. You speaking on your schedule, you don't make your schedule and hope to be 33-2 going into the playoffs. You want to, like David said earlier, you want to go into the playoffs, and everything that you don't want to be surprised by something that you see. You want to play the best teams you can in the regular season and prepare your team for if you're fortunate enough to make the playoffs. But shifting gears, talking about your team this year, we talked about having a few big arms back on this year's team with Connor Gear and Mac Anderson, who you hope continues to take that next step this year. In addition to those guys, who are your top returning players and guys who you think that will lead the way at the plate and on the mound?
We got John Luke Stevens, sophomore, coming back. He was the one that had the big hit last year against Hartsville to walk those guys off. He's coming back on the mound for us. He'll play first and hit somewhere, anywhere from 4 to 5, in the top half of that order. And then we got Judd Harris. He's been impressive the first 15, 16 days of practice. I mean, he's 85 to 87 on the bump. Multiple pitches, and he plays football, won the state championship as the quarterback this year as a 15-year-old, so he knows how to compete. That part of it we're really excited about, and he can play really anywhere. So for us, Judd will play some outfield and then come in and spell whether Gear's on the bump or kind of rotate around with whoever's getting on the bump. We don't have a huge varsity squad this year, guys. We'll dress anywhere from 13 to 16 guys. It's not a big bunch. But they all pitch. They all play multiple positions. So, our varsity practices have been really good to start the year. They're a cohesive bunch. And we haven't been around each other as long as we have in the past because, football played to mid-December. Holidays came around. So we really just started being around each other day in, day out after Christmas, after New Year's. So, you got the umpire scrimmage coming up this Saturday. We'll throw Gear and Anderson and a couple other guys, starting to get their pitch counts up to 40, 50 pitches or so. But we really like the arms. If they're in the zone, guys, they're going to be tough.
Mm-hmm.
They some guys that know how to compete and have good stuff. We just got to get them in the zone consistently.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I laughed about it when you said you don't have a big, large varsity team. I remember early in my coaching career, I was still an assistant coach at Lee High School, and we had 12 guys in our varsity. And that was awesome because, no offense, you didn't have to waste a lot of bullets throwing BP to guys that weren't going to play, and everybody
gets a little more efficient for sure.
Yeah, it is a little bit more efficient, and especially if you've got 13 to 16 guys that can play, that have some type of contributing factor that will help your team in some way. So
don't have to hear about playing time either.
We've got 6 seniors, 3 juniors, couple freshmen will be on the squad, as well as our sophomore. We got probably 4 sophomores that really, even when we go into the playoffs, when you start pulling guys up, we'll be under 20 going into this year, where we've been, mid-20s in the playoffs and things like that. So, we've got plenty of numbers in the program. We got a lot of young guys. We got a big 8th, 9th, and 10th grade class. And so we got 21 middle schoolers, 20 or so JV guys. Just the varsity this year is 13 to 16 guys. So they like it. They like the smaller group. And so we're looking forward. We're just excited, man. It's that time of year where we got a few more weeks, and we're looking forward that we open up against St. Paul's, who is going, Coach Robbins always going to have them guys ready to go. And they've got 4 or 5 D1 guys that can play. And so we're going to see, from the get-go, we're just looking forward to good baseball and throwing these guys, play high competitive baseball in the state.
Yeah. You talked about some of those guys that, you expect to maybe lead the way. Every team's got glue guys. Every team's got maybe guys that's not going to hit 386 or hit 5 out of the yard, but everybody's got that guy that's going to sacrifice bunt, can hit and run, and can play anywhere, and can, come in and steal a bag here, getting scoring position late to be drove in. And, you surely got some of those guys, don't you? Who are some of those guys that may not be a household name, but guys that can play a key role for you in this 2024 season?
The guy that comes to my mind when you start talking about, glue guys is Alex King. He's our second baseman, senior, committed to Lawson State. Just an ultimate dirtbag guy. He's about 5'7" to 5'8", 160 pounds. And, man, he gets every bit of his athlete. He never cheats anything he does. Everything's game speed. Every day in the weight room for the last 3-4 years, he just pays attention to details, and doing things the right way means a lot to him. Some kids, it's not important to them. To Alex, what we ask him to do, he takes it to heart. And, he's just a guy for us that's a spark plug. He seems to get those 2-out hits. He's not the fastest guy we got. He's not the strongest. But also go along with that is Joseph Stevens, too. Joseph's been around a long time. He's still kind of coming off an elbow issue. So we're still in the works of trying to get him back healthy, to get him in that shortstop role. And he'll continue to hit leadoff as of right now for us. And, he's 12 out of 13 in saves. He's had a lot of success for us. He's played some as a freshman, was all-state as a sophomore, banged up last year with the elbow issue, and then ended up having surgery and still kind of coming back from that. So, we got to get Joe back going full speed, because defensively, his brother was really, really good. Mark was an absolute great player for us, started over 100 games at shortstop, and Joseph's hands and the way he plays that position, the range, the savviness he plays shortstop with, he knows our system. It just, the communication factor when he's on the field is huge. So him and Alex right there, both in the middle, our middle infield, are integral parts, obviously, to go along with Connor Gear. Connor's a model kid, man. He's I've had him since 7th grade. I had him at 5th grade when I was teaching PE at Orange Beach Elementary. He was a little 5th grader running around with that pretty smile he's got, playing kickball with the same, infectious energy he has now, and guys, he threw Friday night, and he was 88, 89, hit 89.7 on the track, man. So that was up a little bit for him, but was just coming at hitters. It was impressive. It was impressive.
I remember watching him when in the PBR South Alabama Showdown. He had that Friday night start against Orange Beach. And, man, that was as good as I saw that whole spring. He was – I forget what his line was, but his sliders, when, like you said, getting those guys in the zone, he was in the zone that night, and he was pretty close to unhittable.
Yeah, he's one, when he gets the ball in his hand, it's his game, last year against Orange Beach, he had a couple starts back. I think he started against Orange Beach, and then the next Friday against Corner. And, the lines were the same. Complete game, 2 or 3 hits, 9 or 10 strikeouts. I mean, just and just coming at you. I mean, it wasn't really just challenging hitters. And he was that way Friday night. He was amped up. We gave him 35 pitches, and I mean, he was coming at hitters, and it was.
Well, if you got plus stuff, challenge hitters.
That's a good gift. That's a good gift from
Anderson kid. I know y'all seen him, and when Mac's in the zone, it's electrifying. I mean, he's got massive. I mean, his breaking ball, the amount of vertical run on it or horizontal run on it is just incredible.
Is he going to try to be is he going to be one to try to get him in to be a starter this year? Or?
Yeah, right now he's in line to be that guy. We don't know where that's going to fall at. We're going to throw him game 1 and then gear behind him. It's just kind of wait and see. We've had 3 squad games down here. The weather's been, I'm sure across the state. So we're probably fortunate than a lot of places actually been.
I was about to say, don't mention it to the North Alabama coaches.
So they both threw Friday night, and Anderson, we did 2 up, so we threw 35 pitches. I set him down after around 18-20. We had to flip it, but we had to air it, shortstop that inning, pass ball. We're having to replace Don Maldette, guys. And I'm just going to be flat out honest.
Yeah.
That's our weakest link right now. When we find that guy, we've got 2 guys competing. We got a sophomore and Price Stevens who's doing a really good job back there. Physical football kid, he's an H-back type kid, so linebacker type, bulldog back there. And then Alex Rippey, but Alex threw 51 innings for us last year. And so, arms behind the dish, how that goes. So we've got to figure that out. Don Maldette was special, guys. I mean, the way he controlled the pitchers, the way he handled the umpires, called over 100 consecutive games for us. He was a really special kid.
And you don't care if either one of those catchers hit a lick. You just need them behind the dish.
We got to, guys. We can't go. So I mean, Friday, Anderson's on the bump. He had some tough luck. We had to air it short, pass ball. It's 1-0. And I'm like, guys, and Anderson throws hard. I mean, he was 90 to 92, and he's sometimes not around zone. But we're not missing. We're missing balls that are barely off the plate right now. And I don't know if we're trying to frame them up to make them look like a strike. So we got to clean that stuff up. The balls that bounce at 58 foot, and we'll handle those. But right now, we got to catch the balls that are catchable.
No doubt.
That's right.
Well, Coach, man, we really appreciate you coming on and talking about your team this year. We obviously are looking forward to that second weekend to get down there. We hope that you make sure that we get warm weather when we come down there.
You've got that book that condo, baby.
Hey, right. Guys, anything y'all need, y'all let me know now.
But we are looking forward to it. We appreciate you taking time to jump on with us tonight. We know it's a busy time of year for you. And again, we wish you the best. Thanks again for coming on, and we'll see you here in a couple short weeks. Okay.
Guys, sounds great. Thank y'all for everything. Y'all do a great job, and looking forward to seeing y'all. If y'all need anything, y'all let me know. But thank y'all for everything you guys do.
Thank you, Coach. We'll see you soon. Okay.
Yes, sir. See you guys.
Take care. The Dolphins will be good again this year.
I would hate those 2 arms. I'd hate to face them in a series, getting that draw 1-2, and the guys that they have coming back too. So,
and he's right. If Mac Anderson, because I saw Mac, I think he started last year against Hartselle down there, and I saw him throw one game in the South Alabama Showdown, and when he's in the zone, he's going to beat any. I mean, he can beat anybody. There's no doubt about it.
He can beat you with his fast. If his fastball's in the zone, he can beat you with it. It's that electric. If he's got a fastball in the zone, he's good.
Speaking of having electric players, man, our next Coach Perez from Thompson High School. Let's welcome Coach in. What's up, Coach? How are you?
What's up, guys? Can y'all hear me? Can you hear me?
You're good, man. You're good.
I talk a little funny, so I got to make sure that you guys.
No, you're good, man. Coach, we appreciate you coming on. Man, let's just jump right into it. Last year, man, y'all, it was that Elite 8 series against Bob Jones, man. I can tell you this. We were at my daughter's graduation from Auburn, and I couldn't get out of that. I'd be in trouble. I'd be searching for a new wife if I didn't go to that. But Austin and I both had to go to her graduation, so we had to miss it. But we were sitting up the stands following Game Changer, and what
Perrin Bland 3-run home run, and we were like, oh,
what a series!
Yeah.
What a series! And then the next weekend, in 7A, in 6A, 7A. Man, there's no easy outs. The next weekend you go play Vestavia. They beat you in 3, going to win the state championship. Man, you had a great season last year. I know that it came up shorter than you wanted it to, but I don't think you ever questioned your kids. I don't think you questioned their ability. Number one, their ability or getting after it. And let's make no secret about it. You've got a good club coming back this year. But the thing about it is, and this. I hope I don't make anybody else mad, but you probably maybe take the probably out. Toughest area in the state. I mean, there's 4 teams in your area that could win the state championship. I mean, that's the bottom line. That's Area 5 with Hoover, Vestavia, and Tuscaloosa County. I mean, that's and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but this, if you don't play well in those important games, you won't make the playoffs. There's going to be 2 teams that are left behind from that area that could do damage if they get in the playoffs. Spoke last year. I think that y'all finished 37-8, something like that. It was something close.
Yep. Maybe started like 21-0. I think
yeah,
21-0. Yeah.
Yep. And you lost some talented guys, but you bring back a lot of guys this year that have some experience, and you know what it takes to win a state championship. Hazel Green, I think it was 2018. Is that right?
Yes, sir. 2018. Yep.
2018 won the state championship at Hazel Green. You've got a good team coming back, but so does Hoover, so does Tuscaloosa County, and so does Vestavia. I mean, there's no secret about it. And I guess I'll lead into our first question for you. What are your expectations going into the season?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for you guys having me here tonight. Look, last year was a magical year. Okay, last year was a year that, and I feel like I don't want to say we overachieved, but I mean, hey, look, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but my 2 friends that I'm talking to right now, the top 10 preseason came out, and Thompson was not in it. And look, all I'm saying is we would not expect him to be as good as we were. Okay. And that's nothing against our players, but it's what you're talking about, how tough our area was. And all I wanted was this group of guys to play together and see what that took us. And now I knew it was going to be special around probably week 2. Like, whoa, I think these kids are really playing well. I think we have a chance. Just because, look, we have guys that have never been in the situation, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but it's what happened in 2018 when I was lucky enough to coach those guys at Hazel Green. It doesn't happen often, especially in 6A and 7A. You need experience on top of talent to make runs. So last year we had a bunch of guys that had 0 playoff experience, none, especially in 7A baseball. So, you guys said it right. I mean, Tuscaloosa County won 30 games. I think 32 games last year. Didn't make the playoff. Hoover had I don't know how many Power Fives or Division Ones in that lineup. Didn't make the playoff. Vestavia finished second. I mean, we went to Vestavia and took a game 3 at Vestavia, which anybody that knows Jamie and the Rebels, they know how hard it is to beat Vestavia at Vestavia. It's tough to beat Vestavia at Vestavia. And they beat us in a game 2 and extra innings 3-2. And then I think we beat them 9-4, game 3, something like that. So we were able to get the 2 out of 3. And then we're able to sweep Hoover and won the area. And it's the first time in Thompson High School baseball history that we start 20-0 and then we win the area the same year that we have Vestavia and Thompson in the area. So last year was a magical, historic year. The words proud are not enough for that group of seniors and that group of players. What they achieved was magical. That's why was I upset when we got beat? Yes, look, you win game one, 11-1. It was not even close. We're the better team, and it was not even close. And then the rain came. You're like, man, I really want to finish the game today, but
Yeah.
it is what it is. We came back the next day, and what happened? The ball didn't roll our way. We lost 3-2, 3-2. Um, you know, we play a Vestavia team. They got beat the year before in the semifinals. They had a bunch of seniors, talent and experience. They were able to get it done. So yes, we're not hiding from it. We are. That's what we are telling our kids. We have 13 seniors coming back that experience quarterfinals at Bob Jones. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to go playoff baseball at Bob Jones High School. It's tough to beat Bob Jones at Bob Jones, Vestavia at Vestavia, and Thompson at Thompson now. It's tough to beat us at home, and Vestavia did it, and we did it against Bob Jones, and it is what it is. It's just like you said, 6A, 7A baseball. We got a bunch of guys. They're hungry, dedicated. And this has been the one of the easiest falls or preseasons of my coaching career because I got 28 varsity players that I don't have to tell them what to do. They know the expectations. They know it's we over me. It's the name of the front. We're trying to play well baseball when it matters. And I think I think for our guys it's personal because we felt like we were right there, and we were because Vestavia won the state championship 4 days after they beat us. So, um, you know, I think it's just great as a coach and our assistant coaches and as a program to know it's not that we're better, but we are just as good. And any time that you go to play a game, knowing okay, if they play well and we play well, we have a chance to win. We don't have to go into a series going, oh Lord, I hope that Jimmy doesn't throw well, and then our Josh goes 7 innings and throws a fantastic game for us to have a chance. No, if their best had their best and my best had their best, I feel pretty good about winning every game. And that's well, not every game, but
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
you know.
Right.
I understand. Yeah.
Well, like you said, it was a incredible 2023 season for you guys. But let's shift in the page to 2024. You know, it's well documented the talent that you guys have coming back, and a couple new additions to this year's team. You know, you think of guys like Drake McBride, Perrin Bland, Ethan Crook, some of those seniors that you will rely on this spring, like you did last year. Who are some other guys, some of the top returning players that you expect to be a big part of this year's success?
Uh, Look, so you name Drake, Perrin, and Crook, right? We had Tucker Arrington.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the toughest outs in the state. He broke the state record for
Hit by
hit by
pitch.
pitches
Yep.
in one season. Which, by the way, I'm um I'm a great golf player for the University of Montevallo when he coached there, and we don't move out of the way. The Falcons never move out of the way. We broke the record for hit by pitches, so that's something that our guys, we don't move out of the way. And Tucker is that. I mean that
Yeah.
he's a tough out. He's probably gonna no, he's going to break the record for all time hit by pitch. I think he's 3 away from the all time record. You probably do that in the first 3 games.
That record, he
So we
broke
have.
that record. He broke that record. Was it the Vestavia series in the playoffs? He broke it because I was
Uh,
there. I
I
forget
think
what
so.
game,
Yes, I
and I
think
was.
so. Yes.
It was like it was like the top of the second, like no outs, nobody on. He got hit by pitch, and the crowd went crazy. And I was like,
Yes.
"What are these people cheering
Yes.
about?"
Yeah.
I was like,
Yes. Yes.
and
So
someone told me that it was the record.
yes. So we
We
have
just got
him.
we just
Go
got a
ahead.
comment that said the Falcons don't move.
The Falcons don't move, baby. Let's go. Yeah. Um, so we have those. We have Bray Smith. Um, he's. I'm so proud of Bray. He's worked extremely hard this fall. He probably put about 30 pounds. He's going to play everywhere for us. Really. We have. Let's see what else. We just got a bunch of seniors, man. Junior class. Michael Holden. We have Demarion Terrell. He's a
Mhm.
senior. He's a special player, great heart, awesome kid. Have bought into what we're trying to do. Um, I mean, I'm trying to not, you know, be
Leave
sure with
somebody
the
out.
rest of
Yeah.
the guys, but White Williams, Ashton Blair, those guys who were thrown the fire as ninth graders last year, and this year's like they're ready to go. And the list goes on and on. You know, we got like I said, 28 players, 28 varsity players, and about 16 pitchers. Ian Hillary is an arm that I'm looking forward to watch too this spring. But again, um, you guys know, right, Coach Sharp, what matters is April. So we just trying to get ready, especially it's such a beauty where the stage of our program is today. That we are playing 40 games, 39 games this year, Coach. 29 on the road, 29 road games. And I did that on purpose. We're playing 10 home games. 10 home games because people were saying last year that we had a camera in the back that was telling our pitchers what was coming, and they know who they are. So I'm scheduling 29 road games this year, so our guys can just get ready to go. Um, so, and I'm like I said, I'm doing that on purpose to say at the end of the day is you have to go to Tuscaloosa County with Nick and his boys and beat them there, which is extremely tough. You have to go to Vestavia and beat Jamie and his boys. That's extremely tough to do. And you have to go to Hoover and beat Adam and his boys, and that's tough to do. So what better than we playing the PBR event with you guys, three awesome teams. Then we go to Mississippi, play in Northwest Rankin, Lewisburg, Madison Central, and West Marion. The week after that,
Hmm.
we got the PG Invitational. As you guys know, that's a big time tournament. The week after that, we go to Auburn. We play Auburn, Opelika, Smith Station. The week after that, we have Helena, Pacer Green. Then we go to Tennessee. It's like, let's go, you know?
Yeah.
We want to play the best of the best, get punched in the mouth, because at the end of the day, all that matters is April. So.
Amen. That's right. And and I want to go back to what you said earlier. You said it in a joking way. I guess half-heartedly joking, half-heartedly not. I can assure you the Warriors will be ranked this year in 7A preseason. And they're going to be probably up towards the top. So, no.
Well, look, the beauty about it is that last year was so magical because it was kind of like under the radar. So this year I had to do something completely different in the preseason. And the guy that's coming after me, Will Smith, it makes fun of me all the time. Like, what books are the Warriors reading now? So I had to find something that that was about, all right, now people know what we're all about. Now people know the standard of our program. Now people know the talent. So we can't just be oh yeah, we're glad to be here and be 5-0 and it's no. Now it's like they know.
You've
We
got the
know.
target on your back this year. You got the target on
Let's
your
just go. Exactly. Yeah.
That's right. And you know what? That's what competitors want. You want the target on your back because that means you've been successful. I mean,
Amen.
that's the way it is. So, well,
Amen.
man, Coach, man, we greatly appreciate you coming on. We have enjoyed talking with you, hearing about your club. Obviously, it's a very talented club. You know that, but you're going to face 3 other talented clubs in the most important games of the year. And
Amen.
everything you do between now and then is preparing them for those three series and hopefully into the state playoffs and, making a deep run there. And we look forward to seeing y'all that first weekend. We always love that weekend because it's some big time talent we have coming
Absolutely.
in.
Yes, absolutely.
And we really appreciate you coming on and we wish you the best. And like I said, we'll see you here in a few short weeks to kick off the season down in your neck of the woods in the Birmingham area. Okay.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Go
Thank
Warriors.
you, Coach.
Thank you, Coach. Take care, man. He's right, man. That's a talented team.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also right.
I knew he was in trouble
I'm going to let you talk for a minute so I can get my backdrop back up.
Yeah. We got some technical difficulties.
Yeah.
But we'll slide into our next guest. We'll bring in Ryan Keaty, head coach at Gardendale. If we could add him to the stage. There we go. What's up, Coach?
Hey, guys. How are you guys?
Doing great.
Man, we're good, Coach. How are you?
Man, I'm great. It's a pleasure to be with you guys and honored to be a part of your podcast and these featured coaches here tonight.
Well, we're glad you're on, and we are glad we'll see you here in a couple weeks as well.
Yes, sir. We're excited.
Kickoff Classic. I think you're going to play the 4:00 game that day, so you can sort of get that thing rolling at your new park, man. Let's talk about that for a second, man. I know that's and the way weather's been this year. I mean, you needed that turf, didn't you?
Man, it has been, of course, anybody that is fortunate enough to have a turf facility knows how nice it is not to have to cut a blade of grass in the off season and this summer, not have to pull a tarp. But man, the city of Gardendale has been just absolutely outstanding and helpful with us, and coupled with Jefferson County School Systems getting us just a beautiful, beautiful turf facility. And man, when you reached out about hosting this event, man, we couldn't have been more excited. We're ready to get going for sure.
Well, we appreciate y'all hosting, appreciate y'all being in, and it's going to be it'll be another good weekend, and it's going to be a weekend that we've talked with some of our previous coaches about. It's all about preparing your team. That's what it's about, because there could be teams that go 0-3 and win the state championship. I mean, that's just the bottom line, the way this thing is set up.
Absolutely. We going back to last year's event, you just had Frankie on. That was our first game of the year at Mountain Brook, and we struck out with the bases loaded in the bottom of the 7th, so we went into extras, and they scored. They hit a grand slam and scored another run and ended up beating us. But man, we were right in it. And then Saturday we didn't perform so well that next day. But man, it's just a testament to our guys. They're not scared to for the challenge. They're not scared to play anybody. I think we started the year like 1-4 maybe, and we lost to Thompson, Vestavia, Central Phoenix, and Coleman. Those were our 4 losses in the first week and a half or so. And so, I kept telling them, look, don't look at the record. Just keep playing hard. Let's get better week by week, game by game. And they absolutely did that for sure.
Well, and obviously you look back, I mean, that prepared you, because I believe y'all finished up 25-13 or something close to that last year.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
You lost a tough 3-game series in the Elite Eight to Coleman last year. So you have to look back, and obviously you as a coach, your players, you wanted to win the Elite Eight, move on, win state championship. But you've got to turn last year a successful season, get into the Elite Eight, and you do lose some players from last year's team, but you've got some guys coming back as well. And, and obviously, your club much, much better than we do, but we think y'all are going to be able to hit it around the park a little bit this year.
Well, that's been one thing the last few years that I feel like has been probably our strength is offensively. And we've done some other things well too, but I thought offensively, if we hit like we can, or at least approach it like we're supposed to, and it always gave us a chance to win, no matter who was on the mound or what happened on defense or who we were playing. And again, like you, I hope that's certainly the case this year as well.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead, Austin. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Shifting into this season, looking at your roster, or looking at this year's team, we've started off each interview with this question. What's your expectations for this year? Obviously, you guys have a good bit of returning, especially on the offensive side. What's sort of your expectations for the 2024 season?
Well, man, and I kind of want to couple on something that or piggyback on something that Coach Perez said. I feel like in the past, Gardendale has kind of flown under the radar, whether it be, not lack of success, but just not maybe quite the level of success that some of the top tier programs have had. And I feel like last year we took a great step in the right direction to kind of, as he said, put a target on our back a little bit. And so it'll be interesting to see how our guys handle that, because not always, but kind of used to being the underdog a little bit. And then now I feel like we're kind of moving a little more into not quite the underdog. So our expectations are still high. We feel like we're right there. You mentioned last year that series, we're one game away from advancing the semifinals. We played a phenomenal Coleman team, and Coach Patterson, those guys are in those games every year, it feels like. And that was a team where they had, I believe they had 15 seniors on that team, and, they could play, and they've been in that situation, and we graduated 3. And so we had a lot of guys playing who had never played in those type games before. And so hopefully, that does nothing but help us in the experience side this year as well.
Forgive me. Who did y'all play in the first round last year? I was there. 2 one-run game.
Look, we won the series, but I hate that you brought it up. It was Pell City.
Yeah,
We
that's
played
right.
Pell City, and
Yes,
I
yes.
was actually had a conversation about this series the other day with someone. It was the most stressful 3 games in the history of it. It had to be.
Yeah.
And there were I was thinking back, there was not a time in any point in any 3 games, 21 innings, there was not a time where we were not down 1, tied, or up 1. And it was just like every pitch, it was just like you hold your breath and you bite your nail. I run out of nails to bite. It's just like it was so stressful. But fortunately, our guys were able to battle through and win. But man, that was a tough series.
I was there for the first 2 games, and I may be wrong, but I believe they were both walk-offs.
That's correct. All 3 games.
Oh, the third one was?
Yes, sir. Game 1, we walked them off with a sac fly to center, I believe.
Yep.
And then game 2, they got a base hit to win it. And then for game 3, we got a base hit to win it in the bottom of the 7th too. It was, like I said, it's great because we won, but I think I'd much rather win 10-0 instead of those 1-run games.
But you know what? You look back on it, and those games you played early helped you. That's what you're trying to do, is get your kids ready for that moment.
Absolutely.
That's what you're trying to do. And speaking of 2024, and we've touched on some of the guys, and you've got some big time frontline guys, but you've got more than just that. Tell us about some of the guys that you're expecting big things from this year, and just some of the guys that you're expecting to lead this ball club this year.
Yeah, absolutely. This will be the first year in the last 2 or 3 that we won't have any sophomores in our lineup. We've had going all the way back to 2021. You've got like Ty McGraw and Cooper Jarvis, who at the time were freshmen, but Ty came up, I believe, spring break of 2021 and hit in the middle of our order and played first base every day. Cooper came up right after spring break and played second base for the remainder of the season, including 3 rounds into the playoffs. He started 13 for his first 15 as a 9th grader. And so we've had, quote unquote, young guys in there. And then of course, last year or 2 years ago, they were sophomores. And then now we've got all sophomores and juniors on our varsity wise, but senior wise, we've got 5 of our set. We have 7 seniors this year, and 5 of those guys have signed or committed to play college baseball at the next level. And that's something, Gardendale's had guys here and there, 2 or 3 a class, but 5 is the most we've had. So this has been a blessing to have these guys. And, fast forward a year from today, it'll be hard not writing some of these names in a lineup. That's for sure.
Yep, I hear you. Hey, I've got to say it. I mean, you've got some good players, but I'm going to tell you a guy that, and I hope I'm not overstepping my bounds here, but
Cooper Jarvis.
I would love to coach Cooper Jarvis, man.
Man, look, I've said that from day one, and to anybody any college that would listen, he's a guy that you want in your lineup, and whether he hits first or 9th or anywhere in between, you want him in your lineup because he's going to be a tough out. He's going to tell you at least that he's the most competitive guy on the field, and he wants to win. And there's a lot to be said for that. And of course, I know he's thrilled to be where he's at, and Coach Lewis is going to do a great job at Gaston State. But I think had he not had to miss his 10th grade year with a knee injury, I think he has his choice of Division I colleges to go to. And again, not taking anything away from where he's going and all that, because junior college baseball in Alabama right now is no joke.
Yep.
But, of course, you hate it for him because he's such a good kid, but he's done a really good job as far as not letting it affect him on the field and off the field. And we're certainly proud to have him for one more year. That's for certain.
No doubt. Well, you talked about it. We talked about, wanting that target on your back. And you feel like that you've gone from maybe being the underdog the last few years to maybe not being so this year with how much you have coming back and your expectations for this year. You obviously talked about it, reached the Elite Eight last year. How do you continue to build that momentum of, eclipsing 20-win seasons and making deep runs in the playoffs? How do you continue, whether it be, ways you get your team to buy into what what you're selling? How do you continue to build that momentum going into this spring?
Well, I think that it's exactly what you said. You play each game, and you don't worry about the record. We can't worry about, if you look up, even this year, if we look up and we're 0-4 to start the year, then okay, it's not that big of a deal. keep playing, keep moving to the next game. And I say this all the time to our guys, find something to improve on. You know, if we play a game and you played really well on defense, do it again. If we play a game and you went 0 for 3 with a walk, you know, you didn't hit the ball so well, that's something you can improve on. And so finding something game by game, week by week to improve on is big for us. And we've got guys, again, that have played a lot of innings varsity-wise for us and been in some of those tough games and tough innings and tough opponents. And what I like about our guys is, again, whether it's true or not, you know, right or wrong, they feel like they are the best team and the best players in the state every time they go out onto the field. And, again, right or wrong, there's something to be said for that. You know, it's not a cockiness, but it's a confidence thing. And they play like it. And if you ask every one of them, they'll tell you, no, I'm the best player. Yeah. You know, and so, again, true or not. And so I think that's something that they do really well is they play with a confidence like not a lot of teams I've been around before. And one of the other things they do well is they don't quit a whole lot. And there were some games last year, just looking back, where it would have been easy to quit. And we probably should have, to be honest. But like the one that comes to mind, we played Vestavia in a doubleheader here, you know, third or fourth week of the season, and we gave up 10 runs in the top of the first. And so you go, well, that was fast. You know, we still got, you know, 18 innings to play. Yeah. And so, we ended up losing that game 12-6. So, yeah, we got beat, but we outscored them, you know, 6-2 the rest of the way. And so, and it was rainy and kind of unnaturally cool that day with another game following it. And so they don't quit. They don't give up. And, you know, even when you're way out of the game, and I think there's a lot to be said for that.
Gotcha. Well, it sounds like that you like the makeup of this team. You know, I'm sure you've got solid leadership. And, oh, by the way, that video that was put out, y'all, that was pretty sick.
That was a good video.
Man, you know, so the guy that put that together is a friend of mine. We've been buddies since we're, you know, kindergarten just about. And he played baseball here. His name is Stephen Nix. And he just said, hey, look, if y'all ever want to do something like that, you know, just let me know and I'll come do it. And I said, oh, my gosh, that'd be amazing. And our kid, you know, the kids are obviously all about it. And I thought, you know, what a perfect time to do with the turf going down and everything. So we loved it. It was pretty neat to do.
Absolutely. It was. And, you know, we got about a minute or two left before we get to our last guest. But I guess one more question for you. You know, who is that guy that may not be just a well-known name on your team he's that glue guy. He's that guy that, you know, he'll lay down a sacrifice bunt. He'll take a hit by pitch. Who's that guy on your team that, man, is just he's what you want in a Gardendale Rocket? Who are those guys?
Yeah, I was going to say two guys come to mind when you do that. The first one is the senior Logan Fitzgerald. And I know you guys have seen him throw. And if you just look at his stat sheet or look at his numbers, like from a showcase or something, he's not going to wow you as far as the numbers go. But the son of a gun competes like crazy. Every pitch he has runs all over the place, it feels like. And he's just a great locker room guy. You know, everybody loves him. He's got a great personality, you know, away from the field, but he knows when to turn it on. You know, there's a time and a place. I think back to last year, playoff-wise, you mentioned, you know, we go 3 rounds. He threw 3 complete games. He was our game one guy every round, and all 3 games were complete games for him and wins. And so he's just, from a senior standpoint, everything you'd want in a senior. You know, he's always on time. He works, does the little stuff nobody sees. So he's great to have. And the other guy that comes to mind is a junior. His name is Carson Burdett. And Carson played some right field for us last year as a sophomore, threw a handful of innings, but mainly played right field, hit leadoff for us, especially late in the year. And he'll play a lot of second base for us this year. But he's just – you talk about a gritty player who will do anything you need him to do. I joked, you know, before, I feel like if I told him to go stand in left field on your head, you know, he would say, yes, sir. And he'd sprint out there and give it his best and do it. So, and then last year, you know, he was, as a sophomore, he won at the end of the year. We've got a little, you know, banquet, and the players vote on, we'll call it a teammate of the year award, you know, and it's basically just, you know, who was your ideal teammate, who, if you had to pick one guy to be on your team, who would it be? And he was voted teammate of the year by his teammates, which is, in my opinion, better than any honor a coach can give you when your teammates feel that way about you. So those two guys for sure.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you coming on. I know it was a big win for the Blazers tonight. So it was a
man. Hey, I was there. How about the Blazers?
Really?
That was an electric atmosphere, man. That was fun to be a part of.
Awesome. That's awesome. Well, we appreciate you coming on. Looking forward to seeing you in a couple weeks at our kickoff classic in Birmingham, and obviously you guys being one of the hosts. Got some great teams coming. Going to be a great week of baseball, and wish you guys nothing but success moving forward this spring. So thanks again for coming on, Coach.
Hey guys, thank you very much. I enjoyed it.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, they're going to score some runs this year, man.
Oh, yeah.
The Rockets will score some runs, and, they'll be a tough out again. There's no doubt about it. And,
no doubt.
Yep. So look forward to seeing them. I look forward to seeing this new park when we get down there in about 3 weeks. So appreciate Coach Keaty coming on. And, man, let's see. It is 8:41, man. We have left.
We are late.
We've left our last guest waiting for a minute. And that's Coach Zack Welch from Alexandria, the Valley Cubs. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing good, fellas. Good to see y'all.
Good to see you, man. We're a minute late, man. Our apologies, brother. So
that's okay. That's all right. I've been watching it rain all weekend, so 1 minute ain't gonna hurt me.
I hear you, man. Well, man, we really, really appreciate you coming on. You're the fifth of our 5 coaches tonight. It just so happened that you got the last time slot. We apologize if we're keeping you up past your bedtime, but man, you gotta be excited about your team this year. Nothing's won on paper, but looking at paper, you guys have obviously got a chance to make some noise in 5A. Obviously you are. I think you're in a 3-team area. Is it Lincoln and Southside Gaston? Is that correct?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Yep, you're in area 12 there. Last year, man, had a great year. I think it was 30-7 was your record, maybe. Is that right?
That's right. Yes, sir.
Yeah, 30-7. Man, you got beat in the second round, and we do this podcast weekly, and it gets real fun when the playoffs come around because we pick our winners on who we think is going to win every week. And last year we circled that, and we kept looking at that Alexandria Arab matchup possibility in the second round. I think that's right? Second round, I believe it was.
That was it, yes, sir.
Yep. And because we knew the arms that Arab had, and we knew the arms that you had, and the players. And obviously, I don't want to bring up a bad memory for you, but man, that was an incredible series. And it was one, we talked about it. When we talk on the podcast, we're usually wrong when we say things, but we talked about the limited runs that would be scored in that series, and it held true to fashion. I was there on Friday night. I could not make it back for game 3, but those 2 games on Friday night were incredible. Both of them, all 4 of those arms lived up to the billing. And guess what? Both your guys are back this year.
Yes, sir. They're both back. That Friday night series was one of those where if you can't watch it and enjoy baseball, then this sport might not be for you. So that was great baseball all the way around. It's a shame that one of the teams had to lose. Unfortunately, it was us, but 3 games and 3 one-run games. So hopefully this year we can figure out how to win those things.
Well, that leads us into, this year. And we've already mentioned you've got those 2 big dogs back, man. And, both of them can pitch. They're completely different. Obviously, one of them throws the right hand, one of them throws the left hand. And one of them's got real, what you'd call overpowering stuff. And one of them's that typical left-handed guy that can get out there and miss barrels, which is what it's about, is getting outs. And with that said, what are your expectations this year? Everybody wants that blue map, but like I know, there's only going to be one team in each class that achieves that. Right. What are your expectations going in this year?
Well, I tell you, with it ending the way that it did last year, I think it's really left a bitter taste in our mouth, but it's also been fuel to the fire of us in our offseason program and working towards getting this season started. I think ultimately we're all ready for the redo. We're ready to be back in that situation. We're ready to see what happens that's different. But from where I'm sitting, this group that we're having as seniors here, we have 15 seniors, and we've watched them grow and come through our program from a very young age. A few of them, I went to the hospital and saw them when they were born. I've known all of their parents for a lot of these years, and I'm trying to not let the time that I have left with them get by. I'm well aware that once May comes and goes, no matter how much success we find, next year will be a lot of different faces. And that's okay too. But the time that we have left together, we're trying to make the most of, and that's one day at a time. Can we win today? Can we be better today than we were yesterday? And ultimately, we'll get to where we want to talk about the expectations of the end of the year. But we're trying to enjoy the preseason and then the regular season and then everything that we can with our time together.
Yeah. Obviously, looking at you guys' team preview that you submitted, you've got a bunch coming back from last year, and we've talked about it. He alluded to Andrew Allen and Trip Patterson. That's a tough 1-2 punch in your pitching rotation. You got them coming back. Who are some other guys that you expect to play a big role in you guys' success on the mound and at the plate?
We have two other left-handed arms, Braden Thacker. He was Game 3 starter last year at ARAB. We have a left-hander coming back from injury last year named Bray Good. We expect big things out of them. Those will probably be our 4 starters. Coming out of the pen, we'll have most of our innings back from last year. Zach Baskins and Sam Henniger are at the top of that list. Evan Snow throws a little bit for us too. Henniger, Baskins, and Snow are all two-way guys, so they'll also play in our lineup and hit for us as well. So we have a couple guys that are POs, but for the most part, we still have some athletes that can do a lot of different things for us. So we'll have an opening day lineup, and then we'll probably have some different lineups along the way just to try to figure out where all the pieces fit well together. But it's pretty easy to make good soup when you got good ingredients.
That's right.
You got to like what you got behind the plate too.
Well, very much so. Aiden Bruner, he's one of the kids that we've seen come through our program since he was about 6 or 7 years old. It's been great and fun to watch him grow into what he is now, but he's got one of your best pop times in the state. Sometimes we have to slow him down. His hands are almost too quick. So he's worked his way into being one of the better catchers around. And I'm blessed to be able to coach these guys. I consider myself one of the luckiest guys in the state of Alabama. We've got a lot of good players, but even more importantly, we got a lot of good people. We have a lot of good parents that are supportive, from a distance when they need to be, and when they get involved, it's always on a positive note. So it's just a really good situation that I go into each day. They pay me to do what I probably would do for free.
Guess what? You said this, and I want to touch on the seriousness of it. You mentioned parents. I mean, you've got some good people. You've got Cartwrights, and you've got some pieces coming. I mean, you've got a lot of Nick Thompson, man. I mean, we like him. You talk about having parents. A lot of times when you have talented teams, the things that you have to fight is when little Johnny goes home and they hear what mom and dad are saying, that they're hitting in the 7 hole and they should be hitting in the 3 hole, or they're playing right field when they should be at second base. There's a lot to be said for having a family and being collectively trying to achieve one goal. And if you've got that's big for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Most of the parents coach these kids on the way up, and there may be some selfishness here and there at times, but ultimately I think all of them have the goal of wanting to win together as a team. I get very little kickback from sack bunts and situations that they don't really agree with. They swallow their pride and do what's best for the team. And for the most part, I think the ride home with their parents are a positive environment too. I think across the board, we're very bought into each other. One team, one heartbeat, one main goal, and they've all been there for us the whole time. So if there is negative things getting said, I don't see it or hear it, and it's never portrayed by the kids when they get back to the park. So.
Well, that's great. And that's great for y'all. That's great that you're in a situation like that. We've mentioned, some of your returning pieces, some guys that we've talked about, and this is not my question. But, I will say this, at some of the events we've had, you've got some guys that really represent your program the right way. Samuel Henniger, he seems like a first class kid. Nick Thompson, they really represent your program well. But I do want to ask you, we've talked about some of those big pieces, I guess you can say, coming back. Who are some guys that that maybe some people don't know about, but they're guys that are true teammates, guys that, they don't mind laying down that sack bunt. They don't mind hitting and running. They don't mind, taking, trying to get a pitcher's pitch count up. Who are some glue guys on your team that are just, are very important to the success that y'all may have in 2024.
Right. Our pitching staff is going to be what we lean on the most, and they all have a very important role inside of that. But I think our glue guy, the one that really stands out to me, is our shortstop. His name's Brody Slayton. Brody Slayton might not be a showcase guy. He may not run a great 60, and he may not throw a top velo across the infield, but he makes all of the routine plays, makes some of the great plays. He's a great teammate, great leader. At the end of last season, in our exit interviews with the players, I usually ask them who they feel like the captains for the upcoming season will be. And crazy enough, Brody Slayton came out of almost everybody's mouth. So I think everybody looks up to him. He's a great lead by example guy. He brings his lunch pail to work with him every day, whether it's in the weight room or in drills or in the cage. He is an easy person for me to point to and tell the younger guys, hey, man, you need to take note of how he does his business. So him coming through our program, he's definitely going to leave it better than he found it. He's going to make a big difference with a lot of guys that he probably don't even know is watching. But those young guys see how he does his business. And when he's gone from here, his legacy will be remembered as one of those hardworking guys that goes home with a dirty uniform every day.
Actions speak louder than words.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. We've kind of alluded to it a little bit. Obviously finishing 30-7 last year, that big series at ARAB, a lot coming back. You guys have to be considered as one of the top favorites for in Class 5A, but there's obviously, and like there's still a lot of baseball to be played. How do you get your team to buy into taking it game to game and not looking 2 months into May when the playoffs are on? How do you get your team focused and focusing game by game?
Well, true competitors are always going to chase the win, chase the success. And I think that speaks of volumes to our kids and how they are. They're very competitive at all things they do. It's easy to get them to compete with each other in all facets. In our all-season weight program, they all wanted to be the strongest, and they all wanted to have the most gains. So just their competitive nature, I think, is going to carry us through most of those times. But honestly, the best thing that we have going is the togetherness that we have. I think our kids, even if it's not baseball, they all hang out with each other. They go eat dinner. They're around each other's families. Basketball season's in full effect here. They're in the student section together, cheering, having a great time. They support each other. I think they truly love each other. They want to see each other have success. So through the times where it might not be the best day, the weather might not be great, they might not have their best stuff on that day. I think that not allowing themselves to let a teammate down is going to carry us through the most. I've really seen the effort that they put forth to just be the best person and best teammate they can. And that's what I see on the days where things are not perfect.
And that's big, and we all get guilty of just, being talented equates to wins. And that's not the case. Like I know, every team, whether it be baseball, football, basketball, it does not matter. Every team is going to face adversity every year when they play. Things are not going to go well all year long. You know that right now. Mm-hmm. And you probably have to like where you are in terms of your team concept and team makeup, that when that does happen, and it will happen for you, it'll happen for everybody else in the state, you have to like that maybe you've got some mature players that are going to take this team over and going to lead this team through the bad.
That's it. I don't think it's all about themselves. I genuinely think that, I tell them all the time, good people make good teammates make good teams. And I think they've really bought into that in all areas there. So I can't say enough about the type of kids that we have and the things that they're willing to do for each other.
Well, I can tell you that, anybody can lead when things are going well. It's when things go bad. It's when you're looking for those true leaders. So.
That's it. And adversity is so much easier to go through with a group. If you go through it by yourself, this game's going to eat you alive. Some days the bad hops are going to find you. Some days the hard hit balls that you have leave the bat still are going to end in outs. If you're going through it alone, you're going to have some dark times. But if you're a teammate guy and you're truly just bought into the team, 0 for 4 with a win is still a pretty good day.
No doubt. That's right. Well, Coach, we really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule, because I know you're obviously getting ramped up for the spring season. We appreciate you taking time to come on and talk about the Valley Cubs this year. We obviously think y'all can be a very successful, team, but, you're not going to win on paper. You know that. It's still got to be done. And we wish you nothing but success this year. You've always been a supporter of ours, and we appreciate it. And always enjoy talking with you. And we look forward to seeing your team play this year, and wish y'all nothing but the best. Okay.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me on, and I sure appreciate all the things that you guys do for baseball in the state of Alabama. It's going to be a good spring. I'm looking forward to seeing y'all.
Take care, Coach. Best of luck.
Coach.
See you later. Man, that was a great show, wasn't it?
No doubt.
Coach Welch, man, he's a good dude. I mean,
I'd like to play for him.
You can tell. You can tell that the players. I'm sure the players love playing for him, and I'm sure he's, I'm sure he's demanding, in which all good coaches are. And going to hold them accountable, and that's why they're successful. And they're going to be up there. They'll be highly ranked preseason. There's no doubt about it. So but man, that was a great show. Appreciate those 5 guys coming on. Those are all 5 guys that their teams can be successful this year, and we look forward to following their journeys as well as everybody else. Again, we'll get this show back going next Sunday.
Not sure. I don't think not sure what I don't know what we got playing next week, but
you never know what we'll have, man.
I know.
That's right. But man, we appreciate everybody jumping on. Austin, I'm gonna let you close us up, man.
Yeah, no doubt. Thank you everybody for listening, and obviously this will still be available for replay on YouTube. So if you just popped in for the last few minutes of the show, once we end this stream, you'll be able to go back to YouTube and see it, and as well on Twitter as well. So once again, thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys next week.